office and sworn to truly and diligently serve the county of Nairobi without fear, favor, affection, or ill will. And for this, I commit to serve and work for and with all of you.
Governor Anne Kananu has revealed an economic 5-point stimulus program for Nairobi County, which will focus mainly on education, health, water and sanitization, revitalizing the 24/7-hour economy and improving the security. Kananu said she will work with all stakeholders to ensure effective service delivery for Nairobi residents.
All an inclusive education and improved quality of early learning through the employment of additional 219 ECD teachers, improved health of our children through better nutrition, through the provision of free milk for approximately 6,450 children in the ECT centers across the 17 sub-counties in the county. Improved water and sanitation for Nairobi residents in the informal settlements through the sinking of boreholes and installation of 850 water tanks, that is 10 tanks for every ward in the county. Revitalized 24/7-hour economy that will create jobs with a promise to launch within the next 30 days a post-COVID recovery plan and focus on greater improvements in security, local policing, lighting, and sanitation.
Kananu first served as the Disaster Management Chief Officer at City Hall from 2018, after which she was nominated as the Deputy Governor by the then Governor Mike Sonko in January 2020, but the High Court blocked her vetting before the case was withdrawn in December the same year. Kananu was finally vetted and sworn in as the Deputy Governor in January 2021, following Sonko's impeachment. Kennedy Kimani, Hope TV Newswatch, Nairobi.
Member of Parliament Elisha Odhiambo says the National Assembly will grill top education officials to establish whether the tight education program is to blame for the recent rise in school fires. Odhiambo said it was high time Parliament's Education Committee delved into the matter and come up with a solution to the menace that has seen Kenyan schools lose property worth millions of shillings. He was speaking at Wagweri Primary School in his constituency after officially opening a classroom built by the Gem Constituency Development Fund.
I think it's now an appropriate time for Kenya to go through a process of self-introspection, to relook at our education calendar, relook at our education committee, and distinctively analyze, review it, and see whether that is what is impacting in the burning of schools. I think we have opportunity as Parliament with the Education Committee to interrogate the student calendar, whether that is what is making our students burn schools. And I'm asking our parents too, they should play their role, including myself as a parent. We play a role by talking to our students, talking to our kids when they come for half-term, so that they stop burning our schools. It's becoming a problem in the Republic of Kenya. We must have a discipline in schools, even if it means reintroducing caning for students. If that is a panacea or a prophylax that will help this country, so be it.
7 people have died in a grisly road accident after a bus they were traveling in plunged into a river along Kirie-Siakago Road in Miminji area of Mbeere North Constituency, Embu County. Eastern Regional Commissioner Isaiah Nakuru said 9 others sustained serious injuries and are currently receiving treatment at Embu Level 5 Hospital, while 41 others escaped with minor injuries during the 9 a.m. accident.
Speaking from his office after visiting the scene, Eastern Regional Commissioner Isaiah Nakuru said preliminary investigations indicate the vehicle that had been flagged as unroadworthy by NTSA last year after failing inspection test had at the time of the accident 61 passengers on board, which is 3 times its capacity. According to him, most of the passengers in the bus belonging to Ketno Sacco were elderly people headed to Siakago town to register as beneficiaries of the Inua Jamii program. The The accident, according to Nakuru, happened after the vehicle abruptly stopped on a hilly place, and as the driver tried to jumpstart with a reverse gear, it started rolling back speedily, leading to the fatal plunge. The regional boss continued that the owner of the vehicle may have taken advantage of the rural setting of the area to continue operating as a passenger service vehicle, PSV, out of sight of traffic police, despite being declared unroadworthy.
Tumesema driver ambaye alikimbia pamoja na mwenye basi washikwe, watafutwe, kwa sababu inawezekanaje huyu mwenye basi na anajua basi yake haruhusi kutembea, anakubali hiyo basi ibebe watu. Yeye ni muuaji. Yeye ni muuaji pamoja na driver. Kwa hiyo ni lazima washikwe, na nafikiri polisi wameanzisha.
An eyewitness, Bernard Kivuti, said he was en route to Siakago when he found the bus in the river, and in company of others, they managed to retrieve 8 bodies from the vehicle. Area member of the County Assembly, MCA Newton Karaoke, called on the government to put guardrails on the bridge to prevent accidents from happening in the future. Speaker of the National Assembly, Justin Muturi, sent his message of condolence to the families of the victims. Muturi called on the Department of Social Protection to find better ways of reaching out to the elderly who are qualified for assistance and, where possible, in their homes.
The family of a Buruburu Girls High School teacher who died at a beach holiday villa in Kwale County last weekend is now demanding justice. The family dismissed reports that Nelson Osianda, the chemistry and mathematics teacher, drowned at the hotel's swimming pool while swimming. His father, Claude Nangwe, said he is reading malice on his son's death after gathering some clues at the death scene and CCTV footage which showed his son being clobbered by his friends who later drowned him. According to the father of the deceased, the CCTV footage he went through reportedly revealed that his son was beaten up by 3 people.
Na information walipeana walisema kwamba amezama majini, lakini vile tulipofika hapa tunaona kwamba kama hakuzama ndani ya maji, hiyo vinaona kama ameuawa, kwa sababu kuna CCTV zinaonyesha kwamba huyo kijana kuna mtu alikuwa anampiga, mwishowe akaanguka ndani yake ndani ya maji kama ameshika nini kwa shingo. Hasa inaonyesha kwamba huyo kijana ameuawa.
I spoke to him. He was asking how he's going to return the charger. Nikamwambia we have an event adjacent to where he's staying, so nikitoka saa 3 nitampa charger. So at around 10 p.m. I forgot to call him. At around 10 p.m. I came and met the friends at the gate of the hotel I was staying at. So the friends told me there has been a problem. There has been a drowning incident, and Nelson amekimbishwa hospitali. So they needed me as the next of kin to go to hospital. So I asked, ako sawa? Wakaniambia yeye ako sawa. We took our tuk-tuk to Diani Beach Hospital. When we got there, daktari akatuambia, oh, your brother was brought in. He was bleeding from the mouth. He had a drowning incident. They tried to do CPR, but he did not make it. Yes, that is the information I got from the hospital.
Kwamba tulipoingia kwa hii hoteli leo asubuhi, tuliambiwa kwamba hakuna video coverage kupitia CCTV ya ile venue ambayo Nelson alipoteza maisha yake. Lakini tukakuwa inquisitive. Tukaingia ndani ya server room, na ile video yenye tuliona, the answer is simple, kwamba ni shocking. Nelson hakukufa maji. Nelson alifinywa na akanyweshwa maji. Kwa hivyo ikapelekea yeye kupoteza maisha yake.
All right, with that, let's take a short commercial break on Newswatch. We still have more stories making headlines in the country coming your way. Just stay with Hope TV Newswatch.
Dad! Gari mpya!
Umetoa wapi gari mpya?
Optiven wametusort.
Optiven? Nunua any of our value-added properties ama redeem installment ya property yako. Kwa kila malipo ya 10,000 unapata 1 entry point kwenye draw ya Furahia na Optiven promotion. Airtime kushindaniwa kila siku, holiday kila wiki, shinda ploti na gari kila mwezi na grand prize ya Mercedes-Benz C180. Ni rahisi, buy ama redeem na ushinde na Furahia na Optiven.
Hope TV is where you look and live, with an excellent selection of the best Christian programming consisting of local and international content of inspirational stories, talk shows, Bible commentary, youth, health shows, children entertainment, contemporary gospel music, extended times of worship, live broadcast, news, movies, drama, Christian ministry programs, and so much more. Hope TV is another quality service from Christ is the Answer Ministries, with over 45% of authentic and credible local content every week. Hope TV is a sister station to Hope FM, Kenya's leading Christian radio station, with footprints across the country. Tune in to Hope TV, where you look and live.
Welcome back to Newswatch. The United Progressive Front, comprising 3 political parties, together with the Law Society of Kenya President Nelson Havi and former Chief Justice William Mutunga, have come out to defend lawyer Miguna, who was denied entry into Airline France on the evening of 15th November. Miguna was reportedly denied entry into the airline due to a red alert issued against him by the government of Kenya. The front has condemned the incident, saying it's a disregard of court orders and the rule of law. Grace Ongoi has this report.
Trouble continues to rock lawyer Miguna, who was denied entry into Airline France at the Berlin-Brandenburg airport on the evening of 15th November 2021. According to a series of tweets, the lawyer claimed that the attendants at the airline denied him entry into flight AF836 due to red alerts issued by the Kenyan government on the morning of 15th November 2021. A denied boarding certificate issued to Miguna, however, did not indicate clearly that the refusal to let Miguna into the airline was due to a red alert issued by the Kenyan government. The United Progressive Front of the United Green Movement, UGM, the Communist Party of Kenya and the Equality Party, together with the Law Society of Kenya President Nelson Havi and former Chief Justice William Mutunga, who in the past promised to stand with the lawyer, have now risen to condemn what happened to Miguna, terming the acts as blatant disregard of the rule of law, court orders and the Constitution. Law Society of Kenya President Nelson Havi, voicing his frustrations, pointed an accusing finger at the office of the Attorney General, who, according to him, misled the court by indicating there were no red alerts against lawyer Miguna.
This morning, it was our expectation that Miguna would land here, but he did not land here. He was not given permission to board Air France yesterday evening. Why? Because Air France indicated to him that there are red alerts that were issued and directed to Air France yesterday morning. It must annoy us because when we were before the High Court, the Attorney General, through his representative, affirmatively indicated to the court that there are no red alerts. On their part, Air France indicated that if there are any red alerts, an order for their removal must be directed at the government of the Republic of Kenya.
Tying what has happened to Miguna to other incidents like the failure by President Uhuru Kenyatta to appoint judges, the United Progressive Front criticized the executive, saying they have abandoned their commitment to the will of the people and are now driven by their own interests.
We also want to call up the head of the judiciary, Chief Justice Koome. What is she doing? She's not speaking up. In fact, the women in this country were excited. They were talking about, the independence of the judiciary. Let her come out and warn the executive that if they continue not to obey the court orders, then they are preparing Kenyans for anarchy. In the sense that if the people if they can get court orders and the people that are meant to implement or execute those orders do not, then what is the reason for them to go to court? Then they will start to sort out issues extrajudicially.
If we do not speak out right now, there might be no one to speak for us. So we must start it now with the case of Miguna. We must start it out with the case of the various Kenyans who are political detainees who have not been compensated. We must speak out for the various judges that the President Uhuru Kenyatta and his government have refused to appoint. And we must be speaking out for the principles of the rule of law. So as Kenyans, please let's join this fight in the defense of our constitution.
Speaking in the same forum, former Chief Justice Willy Mutunga condemned Air France for being part and parcel of what he terms violation of the rights of Miguna. He, together with Nelson Harvey, announced that they will continue to push Miguna's entry back into the country.
Moving forward, we've gone back to court and sought a raft of orders which, if granted, should enable Air France and the government of the Republic of Kenya comply with those orders in order that Miguna is back in this country.
Air France, the official carrier of the French Republic, should be the last airline to respect and respond to illegal alerts. The French government should not be part of the violation of the rights of citizens of a country. The government of France should direct its airlines to disregard such kind of alerts in the future.
Grace Wangoi for Hope TV Newswatch.
The Kenya Medical Supplies Authority KEMSA board has asked the county government to prioritize settlement of more than 3.9 billion shillings pending bills to the authority. Speaking while addressing stakeholders in the pharmaceutical sector and medical associations, KEMSA chairperson Mary Modime said the settlement of the bills would help accelerate reforms at the authority. Modime has defended the authority that it had not declared any roles redundant nor handed over KEMSA's leadership to external agencies. Alice Dan has this report.
Speaking on Tuesday after addressing stakeholders in the pharmaceutical sector and medical associations, KEMSA chairperson Mary Mwandime said some county governments had extended much-needed support to KEMSA by prioritizing the settlement of bills to keep the authority's cogs running as the organizational reforms to address systematic challenges progress. Mwandime said the board will undertake the reforms in strict compliance to due process and labor laws as the board is committed to remedying challenges currently bedeviling the authority.
We touched on the areas of reforms as they relate to the structuring of KEMSA, and the members were very happy to be brought on board. In as far as the structuring is concerned, we assured the members, the stakeholders, that they are not going to be left out in the process, and that we'll continue with dialogue, we'll continue with engagements as we go along. Again, they were happy that their members right now have not actually been sent home, but it's a process that's going on as part of the restructuring process. The members were brought on board on the reform process. There are areas of governance that need to be addressed, also areas of processes, and they wanted to be assured that there will be a smooth flow of operations. We have assured the members that there will be a smooth flow of operations as this exercise is going on, and that at the end of the day, we are all working towards having a better nation with an interrupted flow of medical supplies to all our health facilities all over the country.
Last week, the KEMSA board paid courtesy calls to Kisumu, Kisii, Nyamira and Uasin Gishu county governments. The board also engaged the National Assembly Committee on Health and Development Partners for Health in Kenya. Mwandime reiterated that the authority was complying with a court order and had not declared any roles redundant nor handed over KEMSA's leadership to external agencies. She added that operations at the authority are proceeding under a business-as-usual model with a business continuity plan to avoid any disruptions. KMPDU Secretary General Dr. Davji Bimji, speaking after the KEMSA engagement, expressed optimism that the authority will undertake the envisaged reforms lawfully.
We have been given detailed information regarding the restructuring that is taking place and information on the process when it started. It has completely been dissociated with the issue that we thought was affecting it, that is the COVID issue of last year, that this restructuring is actually to ensure that there is a free flow of the medication to different facilities in the country. We've also been assured that there is no involvement of KDF and there's no involvement of NYS. And that the period, that 30 days period, serves as a notice to the workers in the institution, which in this case now there will be involvement of both the unions and the workers regarding the framework of the establishment. We have also been assured that the salaries of these particular workers and of our members will be paid while this process is ongoing.
KEMSA is suffering from the below par productivity, with the order fill rate standing at 18% against a target performance of over 90%. KEMSA's order turnaround time is an average of 46 days. The authority is also suffering from a developing data and creditor crisis and is currently owed 6.4 billion shillings by its clients, who are primarily county governments. The authority owes its creditors 4.5 billion shillings and is operating at 170% above its approved staff establishment of 341, with an estimated staff complement of 992. For Hope TV Newswatch, I'm Alice Diana.
Over 4,000 families in Nyandarua County are set to benefit from 1.2 billion shilling water projects funded by the National Irrigation Authority. The 40 projects include desilting of colonial dams, borehole drilling, irrigation projects, and digging of water pans across the county. According to Water and Sanitation Cabinet Secretary Cecily Kariuki, the move is aimed at helping farmers in the county engage in agribusiness through irrigation, as well as providing clean water to help curb waterborne diseases.
Tumepewa huu mradi na serikali, tutaweza kwanza kupumzisha wanawake wetu kuhusu mambo ya maji. Namba ya pili, tutakuwa na maji masafi ya kunywa na kulima. Kwa hivyo tutatilia mkazo mambo ya kilimo, biashara, na tutanufaika sana kama wakaazi wa hapa Dumabi na hasa Mahuaini Village.
Sisi huwa tunategemea mvua. Na mvua hapa kwetu huwa inakuja mara mingi mwezi wa 5, inaisha Disemba. Sasa kuanzia Januari kwenda mpaka tena mwezi ya 5 kuna kuanga na kiasi kubwa sana. Hata huwezi pata hata kama ulikuwa umepanda boga, jua ikikuja, kiangazi ikikuja, hiyo boga yote inakauka. Lakini kwa saa hii tumefurahi kwa sababu hakuna wakati yenye tutakosa boga kwa hapa kwetu.
Sisi kama wafanyikazi wa serikali, sisi tutafuatilia hii mradi. Tuone kama imemalizwa wakati unaofaa na pia pesa imetumika vilivyo. Unajua kuna wakati mtu anapatiwa pesa lakini anafanya haraka lakini kazi mbofu. Sisi tunataka kuangalia kwamba there is value for money. Kwamba kazi imefanyika, imeisha kwa ile wakati unafaa, lakini ile pesa yetu tumeitumia kwa njia mzuri.
Tumefanya hii miradi kwa kasi kabisa kwa vile sisi sote tunashikiliana, vile tukifanya na kamati ambayo tumeunda. Hizi kamati ni kama tumemaliza kuunda sasa, ikiwepo na representation ya kila mmoja wetu, kina mama, kina baba wako, wana youth wako, vile watu ambao wako na utaalamu tofauti ya mambo ya kilimo wako kwa ile kamati. Natumai ya kwamba wiki ijayo wakulima tutaweza kuwaelekeza kupitia kamati kwanza, hizi kamati ambazo tumeunda ambazo zitakuwa zinasimamia hii miradi. Tutawaelekeza kwa masomo ndio waelewe jukumu lao na vile watachunga hizi project, ndio tusirudi hapa tena tukute mambo ya operations ama mambo ya panels iko na hitilafu yoyote.
And Game Member of Parliament Elisha Odhiambo has criticized ANC party leader Musalia Mudavadi over his remarks on Raila Odinga's Youth Monthly Stipend agenda. He has called on Mudavadi to offer alternatives instead of criticizing Odinga's agenda for the youth in the country. Speaking at Ramula Trading Center in East Game Ward, Odhiambo said the proposal by the Orange Democratic Movement leader is a credible practice and called on Mudavadi to stop politicizing the policy that he said aims to help vulnerable Kenyans back in the villages and informal settlements.
The sentiments of Musalia Mudavadi were misplaced. The proposal by Raila Amolo Odinga to give 6,000 people 6,000 shillings to the vulnerable of our society is a credible practice the world over. I think Musalia as an economist, Musalia as a finance expert, should not politicize when we want to help people suffering in the villages. If Musalia really is serious to become a president of the Republic of Kenya, he knows very well that he needs to come up with more pragmatic steps, not criticizing policies of other presidential contenders. I know for sure that Raila means very well.
Right, let's move into our feature story tonight. The people living around Lake Victoria in Kisumu County have for decades depended on fish for livelihoods and survival. Despite the government controlling fishing in the region, the fishermen have been battling meager earnings and scarcity as fish decline in Lake Victoria becomes a nightmare. The fishermen say lately the catch is not as good as it used to be. This may be attributed to overfishing or perhaps climate change or other human causes. Our very own Dolly Murigi travelled to the lakeside city of Kisumu where she caught up with local fishermen to hear their story. Take a look.
It's 6 o'clock on a cool morning. Even before the sun rises and the warmth of the lake starts to kick in, we meet up with some fishermen at Dunga Beach in Kisumu. The morning fishermen at the workstation at Dunga Beach in Kisumu are set for the day. Some would prefer having enough for the stomach due to the many hours spent on the lake. It is an uphill task for fishermen to fish with metal hooks suspended by nylon threads as they launch their boats to the deep ends. However, it is easier for them to have a good catch while using the nets as they only have to fish at the shallow end, and a boat ride in the afternoon will do. As the morning fishermen set out for fishing at the deep end, the night fishermen are now returning back to the shores of the lake. Depending on the type of catch they want, the night fishermen will have to rush to the shore with a catch before the crack of the dawn to meet the fish vendors who scramble for the early worm. Once they're back, the boat is hauled to the shore by the fishermen. The catch is removed from the nets and sorted according to the type, which include Nile perch, daga, bluegills, catfish, tilapia, among others. Once sorted, the fishermen sell to vendors depending on the best price offered, and the vendors in turn sell the catch to villagers. My colleagues and I spent several hours at the beach before the morning fishermen came back with a catch. The scorching sun to the beautiful view of the lake and the music filling the air from the few restaurants around Dunga Beach was the best experience I had so far. Even the flying and the swimming birds in the lake could tell. It's around noon and some of the fishermen are coming back to the shores. Some of the fish vendors are busy preparing the basins ready to buy from the fishermen. The sale of the fish will depend on the catch. On good days, the catch will be humongous, while on the bad days, the fishermen will have to bear with meager sales. Jackton Madai Idi has been a fisherman for quite a number of years. Jackton and his fellow fishermen inspect the fishing net, checking for holes and torn corners as they prepare the net for casting the following day.
There are some days where the lake is calm and some days it is not good. On a bad day we make 1,000 shillings, and on a good day we make 5,000 shillings. The boats you see here and the business ladies you see here have specific boats where they get their fish from. So there's no competition when the boats come from fishing. The women come and buy fish from us. Every woman has a specific boat from where they collect fish. That's why you see the boats are named and colored differently.
According to Jackton, the catch nowadays is not as good as it used to be some years ago. They attribute this to the increased numbers of boats and fishermen. To cope with the situation, some fishermen are forced to row deeper into the lake.
We go through a lot of challenges because when you go fishing with the boats like this, it gets broken. So it forces the rescue team to come and help you, and sometimes the wind is too strong. You can't work, which makes you come without any fish, and that is just one of the problems we are facing. Also, the water hyacinth blocks the beach. Sailing through the lake becomes very difficult. Sometimes, the winds blow away the hyacinth, and that's how we can get our boats through. In some cases, the hyacinth is blown to the beach. We just watch helplessly.
Pamela Juma Otieno is a fish vendor. She has been selling fish for the last 28 years in Tunga and has used her earnings to sustain her family.
Inalingana na size ya samaki, iko ya 300 nikichukua nauza 350. Iko za 400 nikichukua napata 250 juu yake. Hata za 500, 600 ziko. Sasa it depends on the size. Ikiwa biashara inaweza kuwa mzuri kwa siku moja, naweza kupata 1,000 ama 1,500 kama ni mzuri. Na saa ingine inakuwa mbaya, unaweza toka hata bure ama unaweza pata 300, 400 ama 500.
Pamela tells us that 20 years down the line, the situation has greatly changed with no income compared to the years back.
Tilapia watu wanaipenda sana na wanasema ndio samaki tamu kabisa. It is the most delicious fish. Sasa watu wote wanapenda tilapia. Na zamani hata mbuta haikuwa sana. Sasa watu wamekuja kuintroduce kwa mbuta juicy. Sasa tilapia ndio mambo yao.
But there is a concern about the decline of fish in the last few years. What has contributed to this and why is it so?
Samaki wamekuwa wachache sana. Unaweza enda kuvua samaki urudi bila. Sio kama kitambo ulikuwa unaenda unarudi na samaki wengi. Saa hizi ni kama unashika kwa bahati. Pengine unaweza enda huko urudi na yenye hata ukigawa na mwenye boat ile ya kupeleka nyumbani ni kidogo sana. Hii imetokelezea kwa sababu ya mambo mengi. Samaki wamepungua kwa sababu ya climate change. Tuko na illegal fisheries, wale wavuvi wenye wanatumia vifaa mbaya kushika samaki. Pia tuko na overfishing, which is due to unemployment. Unapata there's a lot of pressure. I can say that there is less government support in terms of loans and grants, as witnessed in other agricultural sector. Utapata wakulima wa chai, wapamba, wanapewa mikopo na serikali, hata grants. Sisi hapa wanasema wavuvi ni watu wa kutembea. Sasa unaona sisi tupati vitu kama hizo, na pia imekuwa tumeionelea kama ni siasa mbaya. For a very long time we've been neglected as fishermen. So hiyo pia ni changamoto, ambapo tungepewa hata hizo loans na grants, atungeendelea na uvuvi mbaya, tungenunua zile vifaa vizuri za kuvua.
The water hyacinth, which has invaded Lake Victoria since early 1990s, have had significant on social, economic and environmental impact to the Nyanza region. The water hyacinth might have led to a decrease of fish in the lake.
Water hyacinth. Wakati water hyacinth inakuja na madhara mengi. Number one, ina block landing sites. Unaweza pata asubuhi imetupea nafasi, wavuvi wameenda kuvua. Saa ya kurudi wanakuja wanapata hawawezi land, ishashika the landing site. Saa zingine wavuvi wanatoka wakienda kuvua, kuna nafasi lakini wakienda kuvua wanapata hiyo mahali waliacha net zao imezingirwa na water hyacinth. Ingine pia unapata water hyacinth iko na some water weeds ambayo which are also very destructive. Saa zingine zinaweza vuruta nets to a long distance hadi tupate losses. Unapata nets zinapotea, zingine zinararuka.
Due to stiff competition in the fishing industry, sometimes, as Pamela says, in some days she sells little to no sales at all and has to preserve the rest in a freezer. The fresh fish is frozen in order to temporarily stop the spoilage process. For them to sell the following day, Pamela says the fish can be preserved the whole week before they are sold, depending on her customers or market demand. Fishing is these fishermen's mainstay and have to keep doing it if they have to survive. As the fishermen stare at the present dark days in business, they can only hope for a better future, better working conditions, bigger market, and pleasant wages as they look to fend for their families and sustain livelihoods. Despite the hard task of pulling off the nets and sometimes coming across strong waves, these fishermen believe at the end of the day they will make a good catch. Dolly Murigi for Hope TV from Lake Victoria, Dunga Beach.
Our Christian life is not just about God always stepping in when you are in trouble. But sometimes you need to go through the valley of the shadow of death, and God will say, angels, stand away. He must go through that. She must go through that. Because out of this would come something greater and more beautiful.
Whether you are fat or thin, and for me, I don't consider myself fat. I consider myself good for my purpose, to hug women. When they come crying, and they come and hug me, they just come and I hug them and they cry and cry and cry until they are comfortable.
We praise together, we praise Him.
Let's continue with business news. National Bank of Kenya, NBK, has signed up to the United Nations Global Compact, reinforcing its commitment to uphold and protect human rights, labor, environment, and anti-corruption principles through its business practices. With its signing, NBK commits to adopting ethical and responsible business practices in its day-to-day operations and organizational culture. Speaking during the signing ceremony, NBK Managing Director Paul Russo noted that participating in the United Nations Global Compact will strengthen its commitment to the UN Sustainable Development Goals.
And it's a unique opportunity for us to be part of a crucial global conversation on how all of us can work together to build more inclusive economies and societies. We sign up to the UN Global Compact with the knowledge that to achieve the Sustainable Development Goals and to continue creating shared value for our communities will require an unprecedented degree of cooperation, ambition, and collective action. I think what we are seeing today, and I think it's starting to be very real for us in Kenya.
A special initiative of the UN Secretary General, the UN Global Compact is a call to companies everywhere to align their operations and strategies with 10 universal principles in the key issue areas of human rights, the environment, labor, and anti-corruption. We are also a call to businesses everywhere to take strategic action to advance the Sustainable Development Goals, as you can see them listed there.
Stanbic Bank Kenya, through its Accelerate program, has announced a major milestone in its quest to help small businesses reach their potential and contribute towards the country's economic development. The bank, Stanbic Foundation, and United States African Development Foundation unveiled 7 recipients of 33 million shilling Accelerated Grant Fund. The grant funds are being issued under the Accelerate program, which aims to position Kenyan businesses for success while addressing the skills gap in the country by boosting entrepreneurship and employability of citizens through digital literacy and upskilling, career development, and providing funds or grants and access to markets.
Realize that there is a gap. A lot of the SMEs we work with do not have a platform to graduate and go to the market to access commercial money. And we know that is where sustainability is, because that is where they are able to grow. So our partnership with the Stanbic has given us that opportunity to move from our comfort zone and start looking at how to graduate SMEs so that they are able to go to the market.
We estimate that there are over 7.4 million SMEs that employ close to 15 million people and contribute, which is about 78% of the labor force in Kenya, contributing 40% of the GDP. So the role and importance of SMEs cannot be understated. They are an integral part of our economy. And we at Stanbic, we believe that it's important that we support SMEs because indeed in supporting them, we're fulfilling our mandate and our purpose, which is Kenya as our home, we drive a growth.
I think socio-economic development of Kenya requires joint effort and partnerships such as between the government through the Ministry of Industrialization, Trade and Enterprise Development, Stanbic and USDF. And this goes along in leveraging the resources and expertise of each institution to achieve common goal of driving the growth of Kenyan economy. And this is a clear partnership because as a government developing the policy and coming up with policy, the bank becoming a catalyst in providing affordable finance, and then our partners who are giving these grants so that we can support.
And to some sports news now, it's all systems go as the two-car team Goa gears up for the penultimate KCB RSC Thika Rally, which is programmed to start and finish at Mount Kenya University this Sunday. The team, comprising Darren Miranda, who will be driving a Subaru Impreza N10, and John Fernandez, who will be driving Subaru Impreza 2WD, has begun putting final touches to their preparations well in time for the Rally Sports Club RSC round of the KCB Kenya National Championship.
After every rally, we actually strip down the car, look at what needs to be done. When we stripped down the car this time, our rear suspension had actually gone, so we've had the rear suspension rebuilt, and we've looked at the rest of the suspension, put everything back together. We are going for a test drive later today. For Team Goa, the best part so far has been building new friends, meeting new people, learning how the rallying scene works, and also just the participation in the two-wheel drive category. And we've actually managed to finish 3 out of the 4 rallies that we've done on our side. So I think that's a great achievement so far, and we plan to finish the season in a good position.
Managed to change the steering rack and the steering pump, and now we're working on the pipes. We were unable to get some of the stuff locally, so we've had to fabricate them. We formed the team just at the beginning of this season when some friends of mine approached me and had wanted to start rallying. So I decided it's better we form the team because then it makes it easier for them rather than running the event on their own, and also because they were newcomers, I decided to help them out with all the surveys and preparations and stuff like that. Of course, the challenges are vary from event to event, but the main challenge would be when the car fails you with some problem that was unforeseen. Then of course you're forced to retire, and that of course, then you don't score points in that event. Now that we are lying second with only 2 events remaining for the season, we have to make sure that the car is reliable so that at least we can finish the event and score some points towards our championship.
Just a day after the embattled FKF, President Nick Mwendwa, who is facing corruption charges, walked to a temporary freedom, various football stakeholders have continued to voice their reactions on the Mwendwa saga. FKF Kiambu County Branch Chairman James Kamau is the latest to react on the issue around FKF and the Ministry of Sports defending the leadership of Mwendwa, which is now suspended. According to Kamau, Mwendwa is innocent until proven guilty, and as such, Kenyan soccer lovers should wait for the law to take its course.
It will be a step backwards if the activities will affect the learning of football. Because even in the grassroots, the players are worried. They are asking, what's the future? But we are optimistic that everything will be done according to the right procedure and football will go on.
The $1 million question is, fine, you ban the federation, so what next? As grassroots leaders, we are saying we want the government to play its role. And the role of the government is, number one, in infrastructural development. Let them come and give us pitches there that they promised. If it's now National Stadium, can we have a world standard stadium? You know, we have a lot of loopholes where money is being allocated to such projects, but we cannot see value for money. So can we get value for money for such projects? Places like Erigiti, we want the process expedited so that we can get playing pitches or playing fields for our boys. And the government could also take up the responsibility of paying our national coaches, taking care of the technical benches, instead of micromanaging the affairs of the federation.
All right, that report there brings us to the end of this live broadcast of Newswatch. Many thanks for staying with us. I'll see you again tomorrow, same time. My name is Tony Omondi, and our sign language interpreter has been Boniface Murithi. Have a good night and God bless.